Hello everyone, I am Walt. Here we are on a rainy kind of fun day here in Wisconsin, and today we will be talking about some more fun stuff. Yep, on the Enlightened Life series here. So, what is today's topic? What is the focus here today? Yes. So, I wanted to, I was just shooting a video the other minute about really the whole idea about big change and kind of the focus on massive, success kind of stuff. And I was then thinking about really some of the reasons why this happens, why cultures constantly stress the need to change things overnight or to have people achieve monumental success. And I was thinking about really how this comes down to fear, what fear's using to deceive us, okay? Because a lot of the things we believe in for like doubt and big change and the essential results and stuff like that, a lot of kind of our reality is really about that kind of stuff. And it's a problem because doubt is not useful, and trying to be able to achieve big things is really difficult. So I kind of wanted to then dive into really the topic of habits. So habits, because of course there are many good books written all over this kind of topic. I mean, you've got things like The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. That one's a pretty good one. At least I've heard some good lectures based on it, so there's some good material there. I would say that you definitely go to Think and Grow Rich for understanding the subconscious mind, or of course my own works on the subconscious mind and kind of affirmations and their effect there. But besides all the books here, because reading is not nearly as fun as like watching stuff in my opinion, then it's really a question of what about habits? How come habits are so big in our lives? Like, some people want to be able to quit certain bad habits, and some people want to be able to develop new habits, yet it seems hard. And I would say the reason is because we rush things. I mean, people want results and they want them, not now, but like yesterday, If they want to build a habit of like building wealth, they want it like right now, or like, a week ago. They don't want it in 6 years from now. They don't want it in 6 months from now. They don't want it in 6 days from now. They want it now. And people naturally just want things instantly. I mean, nothing particularly wrong with instant gratification unless you're giving up something in the long run there. For example, the marshmallow challenge, which really outlines that kind of situation. But I would say the big thing about habits, people try to build their habits too quickly, or they ignore that habits exist at all. So for example, my best kind of go-to is all about the gym on this one. So people working out around New Year's and then they quit, 2 weeks later, yet they keep their gym membership that's like all year round and never use it. That's the whole system. Anyway, besides talking about how that's marketed and how the gym makes off with a way to sell more memberships and even a number where it's unattainable if everybody showed up for space requirements. But regardless of the marketing and fun finance stuff behind that, it's really a case where the habits are what get people. People want to change their lives and they want that change right now, as I was outlining just a minute ago. So when they really want to change their life right now, when they really feel like I have to have it right now, this is just fear, okay? Because the best way to form habits is slowly, okay? So think, for example, of a classic. You could go to the first Indiana Jones movie there, where he's swapping the sandbag for the idol. I think we all can remember, the Ark there. And yeah, I mean, The Lost Ark is such a classic, one of the better movies, but of course Temple of Doom, always my favorite. Anywho, regardless of my stuff about Indiana Jones, let's get off of that tangent back onto the main thing here. So yes, I would say this is one of those things where you're trying to swap the bad habits for the good habits, just like you're swapping the sandbag for the idol there in the intro. So when you're doing this, you got to be a little bit careful about what you're doing here, because the mind is not one that likes to have things change very, very quickly. You got to use a little finesse so the mind isn't really freaking out about it. So, for example, the person going to the gym now wants to start to make a massive change in their life. So what are they going to do? They're going to start going to the gym 2 hours a day or 5 hours a day or whatever kind of stuff, because they want that big change. So they start doing this, and then somehow into 2 weeks, they start to feel like they're sick, or their muscles won't move, or stuff seems to just come up that gets in their way, you know, with their family or with work. There are just things that make it so they can't do it, and particularly they feel like they can't do it. And so then they give up, and then they try again next year, and the same kind of thing happens. This can also be seen in the world for like finance and entrepreneurship, because a lot of people try to use that for instant big change. They think, okay, I'll learn how to do this and next week I'll have $1 million and stuff. And yet they'll just like lose a bunch of money, feel like failures, and then try to do it just as fast next time. And the problem with this, you know, all these kind of things is not necessarily that these things cannot be done. It's the fact that our habits make up so much of our life, okay? Our habits are just subconscious schemas here, shortcuts for how we live our life, okay? Because, for example, if we had to have our mind think about all the things we always have to do, I mean, it's got a ton of processing power, but it's a case where the mind doesn't need to think about exactly how to put on pants, you know, one little bit at a time, like it were a new task. When you first learn a task, it's difficult, but once you build the habits with that task, it's no longer difficult. And that's the biggie here as well, is just that exact kind of thing, okay? It's not about changing things instantly, it's about changing them slowly, okay? Because the mind has all these shortcuts for, you know, when it comes to putting on pants, it basically just runs that program, and that's how you put on your pants, you know? It's something that's always automated, and you choose the same leg almost every time. This is the case with most people. And so there are a lot of habits for things we do in the morning, when we're getting up, things we do before we go to sleep, things we're doing with like money or with people or relationships, all this kind of stuff. People seem to follow just habits because they're shortcuts, because they are necessary. The same can go for our beliefs when it comes to schemas, but that's for another video. Anyway, the main principle that you really want to take away from this is just that our habits are there because they make our lives much easier. The problem is they don't always, you know, they're not always there for good reasons, and they're not always doing good things. Basically, it's the good things one that matters more so, but we don't always just choose, like, you know, we don't say, computer, create, like, habit, you know, subroutine 101 here. I want to have the habit of going to the gym more. So our mind is not programmed like that, you know, it's not just basic code here. Instead, what you're looking at is the fact that the mind is going to be programmed by your behavior and by your emotions. So of course I recommend affirmations for rewriting some of the subconscious mind. You can check out my over 100 books on affirmations over on my Amazon page, for example, and of course my books about how to make affirmations work better and the subconscious mind overall. But regardless of that kind of extra material, if you want to go the extra mile there, this bit is really just saying that our habits are so much of our life, okay? It's just so much of our life is lived out of habit, lived out of these basically subconscious subroutines. And so when it comes down to it, these are things that are not going to be changed really fast because habits are built slowly, okay? They're built over time because the mind is very against change. The mind does not want to change. So if you can build things slowly, the mind won't have the reactions that stop you from achieving what you want to achieve. It's not going to stop you if you change things very slowly. It's also a lot easier to start doing things that are small and that are slow, because when you try to do things that are fast and that are hard, while you might be inspired for the first half hour, after that you feel like the task is overwhelming. And this is why so many people fail, is because they try to do the impossible immediately, you know? And that's, you know, this isn't always the case. Some people will succeed with this, but a lot more people will succeed if they're willing to use the power of the subconscious mind and build in the habits, okay? Starting things slowly is not always as inspiring, but if you set a goal and you're going after it step by step, you know, you make the tasks easy, it's easier to find time and to make that work. And soon enough, you have a habit and you're doing it without thinking about it. And that's really the key here. You want to build it so your life unconsciously grows into the kind of successful and happy life you want to live. Anywho, I am Walt. Thank you for listening to this video. Always, of course, anything that can support it here, comments, likes, subscribes, any of that kind of fun stuffs. Yeah, and of course sharing these kind of material with people who it's going to be helpful for. Always good stuff. If you want to do any of that, I thank you very much. Otherwise, of course, check out my material on Amazon because I have plenty of books written all about this kind of self-help stuff if you want to go the extra mile. Otherwise, just hang around here. We have more videos and all that kind of fun stuff. Thank you guys for watching. You are great. I will see you guys next time with the next video. So stay tuned. I'll see you then.